Hello and welcome to another episode of Derude Guru. Today we will be covering forging. Um, I'll be trying to cover all aspects of forging. We're going to talk about single forging, multi-forging, the different items you can get right now as of February, and how to optimize Aurum gains from forging. Because yes, you can make a good chunk of Aurum from forging items. So let's cover the basics. We have 6 items here. 3 of them are helmets. 3 of them are boots. So stronghold boots are strength. Monk strap boots are, I believe, intelligence. And quick pad boots are agility. Top hat, top hats focus on, I want to say wisdom. Yes, wisdom. Kabuto hats are luck, and kettle helms are charm. So your raider can wield a helmet and a pair of boots. So what stats you want to focus on is up to you and according to your build. So let's dive in. So first thing you're gonna want to do every time, I don't know why the default sorts it by this, but you should be clicking this little button right here to make it sort by highest level. So right here is 40, 38, 33, 32, 32. So you just pick 3 items you don't really want, and you see some odds here, and you're like, okay. So, so what are the benefits of forging? Well, one of them is the level range here. So what I picked were 32 level 32 items. So it has a 33% chance of being a 33, and a 33% chance of 34, and a 33% chance of staying the same. Roughly. I'm not sure if those odds are exactly correct, but that's from what I've been told, that's what it feels like. So I'm gonna go on the assumption that there's a 33% chance that you get a 33 or 66% chance to get something higher than what you put in. Very rarely do you get put some when you add stuff that are not level 32 to these items. It starts to get a little complicated. All of a sudden, you can't go to 34. The range is 31 to 33. There's a chance you end up with a level 31 item, which is not ideal. Um, and you also have a failure rate. So the higher different levels you put in, you start putting in random crap. The worse your level range and the higher your failure rate. So you have to consider these factors. So generally the rule of thumb is you don't really want to be mixing item levels like that. I ideally you want to stay within the range, and going forward, I'm going to be mostly talking about that until we get to multi-forging, which is a little different, and I'll be covering that soon. So actually, let's get. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward system. So let's get into multi-forging because that seems the most intimidating here. So you're gonna see 3 things here, and each one are pretty important, except for level cap. Um, so risk limit is I always put in 10, but the risk limit says what's the highest failure rate you're willing to accept. I don't know if it accepts a 0, but I always just put in a 10. I think you could put in a 5 if you wanted to be, because nothing has a failure rate of 5. So you could put in a 5, and I think it'll accept that value. I could just test that right now. See if it'll let me do it. Oh, it will. But if I put in a 0, yeah, okay, okay. I was just wondering. You have to put a value in each one of these things, though. I don't think it'll let you go without it. So if I leave that blank, oh, it's still okay. Because the default is 30. Okay. I wonder. I guess maybe they fixed that. Because it used to not let me forge at all if I hit this button. So ideally, I like to. I mean, especially if you're recycling. If you're not recycling, this kind of means nothing. Unless you're blindly throwing in different level items and you don't want them to mix, and you want to micromanage it from there. That's fine. Then you'd put maybe 5 or 10, throw whatever the hell you want in there. I like 10 for recycling. The level cap doesn't really make a huge difference. Um, it'll stop auto forging until you get the desired level. I guess you could put 34 if you want to micromanage the items from there, if that's up to you. But I always put 40. I just kind of ignore level cap. I don't think it's that important. I feel like it's very niche. And recycling is probably the best part about multi-forging. So you're gonna want. I like to pick commons and uncommons because you don't sell those to las, and we'll get to the spreadsheet at the end of the video. But you'd never want to forge your rares and epics with only one exception, and that exception is level 32 items. If you have a level 32 item, you could do whatever you want because you can't sell it to las, so you could forge it however you please. Um, all right, so let's test this out. Let's just throw some crap in here. Let's just throw everything in here, see what we get. But actually, no, that's kind of a bad practice. What I like to do, because who knows what the auto forge will do. So what I like to do is I like to just throw everything with the same level. I have a bunch of level 32s here, so it'll be interesting to see what we get. Actually, I don't want to throw that ring in there. I want to keep that ring. Jewelry, that high quality is pretty hard to get, so I'm sure there's another raider that could use it. All right, so we're all set. I believe I'm on a paladin, so I want monk straps. When you're multi-forging, I like to go with boots. Because if you get like an epic pair of boots, that's very useful. Versus maybe like a epic helmet. I feel like epic boots are more useful than an epic helmet. So I by default I pick the boots that my character wears in case I get like an epic 40 that they could equip to make them stronger, and then I could sell it later next time I get an upgrade for boots. So once your items are loaded in, you just hit the forge button, and then voila, I got three. This is unfortunate, but I got three level 33 rares and a 34. So, I mean, I couldn't sell those items anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But, when you're picking uncommon and uncommon, the recycle feature, you're gonna get the rares, which are what you're gonna want to sell. Sometimes you see an epic if you're lucky. And then from here, you can multi-manage on what you want. Switch back to single. And we can't I can't sell these, so I might as well just throw it in there. So it's a good chance it'll be a 34, 35. Um, and it's guaranteed to be so this is an ideal scenario actually. So we're gonna absolutely, I mean, there's a chance it'll be a 33 still, but 66% chance I'll get a rare I can sell. And I did. There we go. So now I can sell this. I can take this right to las and sell it. So multi-forging is not necessarily for everybody. Yeah, that's not even, it has to be at most a 34 for me to sell it. So you could play with it and see what you like. Okay, this might be great, but the odds aren't really in my favor. Maybe if I take out a 31, put in a 34. Oh, that looks a little better. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna lose an uncommon green, but there's a good chance it'll be a rare. So let's take a shot. And I got a rare that I can't sell. Whoopee. Okay. So then you go to las and you sell your goods. And there you go. You took some unusable gear and you got 61 Aurum for it. So that's one of the examples. Multi-forging is not for everyone. It's mostly for when you're burning keys and you get like 20 items at a time. That's where it really shines. But really, you're probably going to want to micromanage your forges when you're doing your 7 free ones a week, ideally. All right, so this wouldn't be a Derude Guru without a good old-fashioned spreadsheet. So let's go to the Google Sheets. And here, let's zoom in. Might be difficult to see. So let's zoom in. There we go. So you can see here, I've done the math already. So you have the cost of goods coming in. I believe these are based on, I think these are 38 rates here. 307 for, yeah. Hmm. But it doesn't really matter that much. I could probably fix this later for it to reflect the level, because ideally you want to be forging level 40 gear anyways. And this spreadsheet does not account for level upgrades because, the higher level, the more orm you get. This spreadsheet kind of assumes everything is equal level and you're going to get equal level back. If I dive that deep, math might get more complicated, and the more complicated the math, the more likely it is to make mistakes. So here is the cost. I tallied up what it costs to put it in. As you can see, 3 rares is quite expensive, but you're guaranteed a rare. But I mean, as you'll see, it's not really worth it. Most of the time, you're gonna break even. It's not worth it. Um, so here's your rates. These are all going to be the same unless what you're putting in has a failure rate. So again, the spreadsheet doesn't account for it. You're going to be farming level 40 gear, assuming, and level 40 gear puts out level 40 gear. So here are all the outcomes. It's basically the assumption is you craft 100 items, you get 85 rares, 15 epics. Divide that by 100, and on average, you're going to get 192 Aurum if you craft this, which pretty nets you a negative profit when you're forging 3 rares, an uncommon, and 2 rares, and 3 commons. So your odds are pretty good when you forge everything in between, which pretty much involves mostly uncommons. So uncommons are pretty good. And here you can see the profit margins. So the best profit margins here are these two. One uncommon and 2 uncommons, and two or just 3 uncommons. They're pretty good. If you find yourself having just way too many commons, you could just put 2 commons and 1 uncommon just to get rid of them. And your odds are still pretty good. I mean, you're gonna make a 65% profit margin, which is pretty good. But really the real money is with these 3. I mean, ideally you don't want any commons. I mean, realistically you're gonna get commons, but ideally, you're gonna want to get 3 uncommons in a row, and then that's a pretty nice profit margin right there. So you're gonna get 3 epics, 27 rares. Um, and we do want to sell the rares and epics. So that's pretty much it. That's how you efficiently forge your gear. If your intention is to sell Aurum, if you don't care about Aurum or you can't sell to Laz like item level 10, the rarer the better. And you might get a level upgrade out of it too if you're throwing in 3 rares. But never do it with the intention of making money because the odds will not be in your favor. You're basically throwing away 2 rares for a rare. So down here, we have a little scenario, and it kind of proves why you should not be selling gear. So in scenario 1, we sell a common, and an uncommon, and we just sell the 3 uncommons, forge the 3 uncommons every time, and we're going to be making 61 Aurum from these 6 items. In scenario 2, if we forge 2 commons and 1 common, we're going to make 69 Aurum. And if we forge the 3 uncommons and then we forge it instead of selling, we're still making more. So this lesson here just shows you do not sell your commons and do not sell your uncommons. Save those for forges. I can't really think of any circumstances where you'd want to sell a common or uncommon. The only thing I can think of is when like they're level 35 or 37 or 39. You can't pair it with anything, so you're gonna have a failure rate. Instead of taking that risk, you'd rather sell it. That's the only situation I can think of where you do that. Because 10%, not ideal. You kind of want to try to avoid that situation because your outcome is zero, which is not good. So, this concludes the Darude Guru. That's pretty much everything there is about forging. I don't think there's anything I'm missing. So stay tuned. There'll be a few more Gurus coming in the pipeline. We might revisit the fair value of Raiders. I want to maybe talk about gems someday. I did on Twitch, so make sure you follow me on Twitch. There's VOD is still there, but it's only going to be up for a limited time, so make sure you check that out. So thank you for tuning in. And if you want access to this information and other things, make sure you hit me up on Discord to join my private server, the Derude Sandstormers. Everyone is welcome, except it's a closed server to keep the bots out, so you have to ask to get in. Um, have a good day.